Hey guys, Credible Crypto here with another video update. In this video, we're going to talk about specifically Ethereum. All right, we're going to talk about Ethereum. We're going to talk about where I got my $350 target from, why I'm so confident that we will hit $350 in the coming months, where I expect BTC to be when Ethereum hits $350, and how I came to that conclusion based off of fractals, based off of the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing, based off of the wave count for Ethereum, and based off of traditional support and resistance levels. So we're going to tie it all together. It all makes a lot of sense, and we're going to talk about how I came to that conclusion. I'm also going to cover at the same time. I'm also going to cover Bitcoin a little bit because it kind of ties in with the Ethereum analysis. So we'll talk about Bitcoin as well for a little bit. Just give you guys an update of where we are, and then we'll go on to Ethereum. So let's start with Bitcoin, guys. If you guys have been watching my videos and keeping up with them, then you're probably familiar with the idea that I think we're in a triangle here, and that we'll be breaking to the upside soon and aiming for 5.8K. After this happens, I think that we will get a deeper retracement, possibly down to the mid 4Ks, maybe 4.7, 4.6 to 4.7K, possibly 4.4 to 4.5, but also possibly not. I think we may just go for this 4.6 to 4.7K region, and then continue to the upside for our last push into the 6,000s for this current wave. So if we go to another chart, I can show you guys the wave structure, what it looks like. This is essentially what we're looking at, guys. So we're in the middle of our larger third wave. We'll get a fourth wave after we hit 5.8K. We'll get a fourth wave as a retracement wave that could technically go as low as 4.3 to 4.5K because it's not entering wave 1 territory, so it's possible. And then we'll see another final fifth wave to the upside. Another final fifth wave to the upside that'll reach somewhere between 5.8 to 6.5 thousand in my opinion, and then we'll get a much larger correction back down to maybe retest 4K or low 4K levels before we continue to the upside. So that's where Bitcoin is, right? So we're expecting at least I'm expecting a move very shortly to the upside to about 5.8K, a shallow retracement, and then another move upside to 6.5K. Now keep in mind, essentially what's happening here is we're going to be going sideways for the next couple months, right? So April, May, June will be just pretty much in this range between, in my opinion, 4.5 to 5.8K. We'll kind of be ranging sideways. And during that time, remember, when Bitcoin consolidates, and especially in wave 4s, we tend to see long periods of consolidation. That's when alts start flying, right? So I think we're going to see one of the greatest alt seasons we've ever seen in the coming months. What we saw up until now was just kind of like the appetizer. Bitcoin Cash going from 160 to 300, Cardano going from 4 pennies to 10 pennies. All this stuff was sort of like the precursor to the real alt season that I think will happen when Bitcoin enters this longer wave 4 consolidation. Now, keeping that in mind, guys, now let's move on to Ethereum and see if we can tie this all in, all right? So with Ethereum, guys, I want you guys to look at the chart very closely, and we see this pattern here. And this pattern has been repeated on many coins. We saw it with Cardano, and I made a video on how the way the Cardano was looking could imply that Bitcoin would see a massive breakout. So very soon after that video, we saw the $1,000 candle to the upside on Bitcoin because it was making this exact same fractal. So Ethereum here is making that same fractal as well. When we take a look at Cardano, this is the fractal that I'm talking about. This one right here, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we get our third, right? And Cardano went, upon breaking out from that fractal, went from 5 pennies to 10 pennies. It literally doubled, all right? So it happened here with Cardano, and again, this is the fractal that we're looking at. Let's see if I can... Yeah, okay, so this is the fractal. I'm going to go ahead and copy this that we're looking at. And then I made a video that Bitcoin was making that same fractal, and so I was expecting a possible massive move to the upside here once we broke through, and we did get that. Here is that fractal once again. All right. So it's not as perfect as it was there, but the idea is similar, right? So we have, there you go. So we have this 1, this 2, 3, 4, 5, break. All right, that's the fractal again playing out on Bitcoin, leading us to a massive move from 4,000 to 5,000 in about an hour. All right, and then now we're seeing that same fractal starting to play out on Ethereum. All right, here's the Ethereum chart. And again, we have the same fractal playing out here. All right. So this one deviates slightly in that this this ramp up here is more of a sideways ramp up here. But again, the idea is the same. 1, 2, 1, 2, and then we break to the upside. All right. So it's similar. It's a little bit different than the other fractals, but the idea is the same. And so if we're looking just by taking double off of what we're at now at 160, we can target about 320. All right. That's not how I got my 350 target, but notice that it does line up quite well with our 166, 170 gives you 340. All right. So just keep that in mind. Now let's take a look at the Ethereum chart, a clean Ethereum chart, this one right here, and get an idea of where I got my targets here, right? Just from a support and resistance standpoint. So you go to the daily chart. Actually, let's go to the weekly chart. So if we go to the weekly chart, guys, we can see that there's this key level here, right? That kind of led to our massive break to 1400. All right. And that level was tested once, it was tested twice, and on the third time we broke through, and once we broke through, that wave was the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, our fifth extended wave to 1400. So this was the breakout level, which means that it was acting as prior resistance. We came back and tested it as support, had a weaker bounce off of it, and then we ended up falling through it. So on the way back up, it's going to act as major resistance once again. And where is that level? It's at 353, all right? So this level will act as major resistance on our way up. Just as 6K or 6 to 6.5K will act as major resistance for Bitcoin on our way up, all right? This level is pretty much equivalent to Bitcoin's 6 to 6.5K resistance, okay? When we go down to a smaller time frame, I do have this intermediate target here about 270. I think that's pretty much just going to be our third wave will end there, and then we get our fourth wave and then our fifth wave to pop up to 353, all right? So that's how I'm getting those targets, all right? Now let's take a look at the Ethereum Bitcoin chart, because that's going to tie all this together. The Ethereum Bitcoin chart, if you guys have been following my analysis, is essentially again in pretty much the same wave count as Ethereum Ethereum USD pairing is, and that's we've made a 1, we've made a 2, and we're working on a larger third here, right? So this actually could go above 0.054, but that is my initial target because that is again our level of heavy resistance here. All right, tested, broke through. It's going to act as resistance on the way up. But if this wave count is correct, we should probably see something like this. In all honesty, or we should we should probably see something like this, or we should break through here on the third wave, something like that. But the bottom line is that we're again making our 1, 2, 1, 2s here for a massive third. And then if we go down to the smaller time frames, again, if you guys have been following my analysis, you know that I was counting this as our first wave up after this A, B, C, right? So we had our impulsive wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was our first impulse. Then our A, B, C, or you can call it a W, X, Y wave. Then we had our 1. This was our 2 wave as a flat, and now we've started our third wave, all right? So this is the start. This is the first subwave of the massive third, okay? Which means that I'm expecting the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing to rocket up very shortly. I'm already long. I've been long for about a week on it. Been long for about a week on it. Maybe even a little bit longer, just kind of waiting for this move to finally complete. I doubled my position on a break of this level, as that was our key level that told us that this 5-wave move down was complete. And now I'm looking to add once we complete, or I doubled on this level, and then I added again when we retested it, in anticipation of a 5th wave, and then I'll probably add again on the wave 2 retrace. All right, so really just loading up this position here. Risk is defined, stop loss here at the moment, which we should not go below if this count is correct. All right, but the idea here is that if the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing is going to explode, it means that while Bitcoin is rising, Ethereum is going to rise a lot faster. All right, so we know that Bitcoin, for me, in my opinion, is headed to 6 to 6.5K, right, over the next coming months. What this tells me is that Ethereum is going to far outpace Bitcoin on this move up. So while Bitcoin is moving to 6 to 6.5, Ethereum is going to be moving to its targets a lot faster. And that's why I believe that Ethereum is going to be doubling in the coming months, while Bitcoin increases by about $1,000 at its most, right? So Bitcoin will increase about 20%. Ethereum is going to increase a lot more than that, and this chart of the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing justifies that further. All right, now let's take a look. That kind of ties it all together. Let's take a look at the resistance, right? So we have a resistance here at 0.054. All right, so let me add some text here. All right, so these are the things that I'm looking at, guys, and there's a lot of things that I look at before I come to my conclusions, and it's very interesting to see how they tie together. And the more that I see things like this, the more that I'm convinced that the things are correct. So let's list down the reasons why I think Ethereum's going to 350. Right, so major resistance level at 350. All right. Then we have, let's say, equivalent to BTC at 6K as far as resistance is concerned. Then we have a wave count that implies impulsive third wave about to begin on ETH-USD pairing. Then we have Ethereum Bitcoin pairing bottomed out with target of 0.05, our initial target. All right. Now, guys, let's take a look at this. All right. So if we think that the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing is going to get to to 0.05 fairly soon, all right, and we think that Bitcoin is going to make its way to 6 to 6.5K, then let's take a look at this. If Bitcoin is going to hit 6 to 6.5K, and Ethereum's going to hit this ratio, what does that give us in terms of price of Ethereum, right? So to find that out, we multiply 6,500 times 0.05, and what does that give us? It gives us, wait a second, 6,500 times 0.054, and what does that give us, guys? It gives us $351, all right? Matching up perfectly with our major resistance, matching up perfectly with our target. Basically what that means is that if the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing has reached around this level when Bitcoin is within the 6 to 6.5 thousand range, then the Ethereum US dollar value will be about $350, which is our target, right? So it all lines up, guys. We're expecting this to rocket up soon. As long as we get to this region while Bitcoin is somewhere in the 6K area, then it literally means that Ethereum will be valued between $300 to $350 at that time. So it's not just a target that's made out of the blue, guys. It makes sense based on the Ethereum Bitcoin chart when we consider that, as well as the Ethereum USD chart in multiple ways, right? So the fourth reason is that with a Ethereum Bitcoin ratio of 0.05, which is our next major resistance, with an Ethereum Bitcoin ratio of 0.05, while Bitcoin is in the 6 to 6.5K range, Ethereum USD value will literally be between $300 to $350, right? And the reason I say that is because, again, we could burst above this level, right? This level is our initial resistance, but we could definitely head higher, right? So imagine if we break through this resistance and then we head higher at 0.07, guys. For example, at 0.07, even if Bitcoin is at $6,000 when this Ethereum ratio hits 0.07, Ethereum will be worth $400. All right, so 350 in itself is, I think that's going to be the local top. My point that I'm trying to make is that we have room to run here, and Bitcoin doesn't necessarily need to be at 6.5K for the Ethereum target to be met. Okay, I do think that Bitcoin will hit the 6Ks when Ethereum hits the $350 level, and then the primary reason for that is everything that I've just explained. But Bitcoin doesn't necessarily need to even get there if this ratio takes off, right? So the point is everything is just pretty much primed for a massive move on Ethereum here, guys. And I wouldn't want to miss it. So I caught the Bitcoin Cash move from 160 to 300, and I made a lot of money there. And I think we're about to get a repeat of that just on Ethereum. And then for the next coming months, guys, this is just going to happen on it's going to happen on a bunch of alts. Okay, it's not just Ethereum that's going to be doing this, but a bunch of bottomed out alts. Again, Ripple is a huge one. I'm definitely long on Ripple. It's going to be happening with them, and I don't care about fundamentals at this point. Whether it's a scam coin, a shit coin, whatever you want to call it, it's going to pump in the coming months. There's a high likelihood that it will, whether or not it has any fundamental value. Plenty of coins have already pumped that literally have no fundamental values. And it's just the way that it is right now, guys. With the market, entire crypto market rising, everything will rise with it, whether or not it's fundamentally sound or secure. So at this point, people ask me, are you concerned about the fundamentals of Ethereum? Or Binance is making their own chain. It's going to cause Ethereum to plummet. I don't care at this point about any of the fundamentals. To me, the charts are primed for a pop, and they will pop. And fundamentals are something that we need to consider down the road once a bunch of the shit coins are filtered out of the system. But for now, I mean, at the bottom of the bear market, potential bottom is what I see it as, is everything is going to be pumping, guys. And it's just a matter of finding those setups and catching them and taking advantage of them. So that's what I wanted to make this video about, guys, specifically about. That's all I had for you guys for this video. Again, Ethereum to 350, and then in the coming months, Bitcoin to 6K plus, as I've maintained for a while now, 6K before 4.2K. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe, and tell your friends. As far as Bitcoin, real quick, before I end this actually, as far as Bitcoin goes, a couple more possibilities here. If you aren't already long, I managed to get filled on this wick and on this wick, so I'm long on Bitcoin. And at this point, because I'm going so heavy in Ethereum, I'm not going to bother adding if we do get one more dip. But the way I'm looking at Bitcoin right now, real quickly, is I'm seeing we could still be finishing up our D wave here. This now looks like it could have been our A. This could have been a expanded flat B, and we could be getting our C wave to complete our D wave here before one more last dip for our E wave, which could end right here. It could end right here, or it could go down here. So this, I believe, will be the last major dip if we get it before we burst to the upside. Alternatively, you can possibly argue that, I mean, I prefer to see a nice touch off this trend line, honestly, like we got here. But some can argue that this was the end of the D wave or something, and we already made our E wave. We're making our E wave. But the bottom line is, I think we'll get one last buying up if you haven't already entered a position for Bitcoin before we break to the upside. Again, Ethereum is going to coincide with this. So if Bitcoin has one more dip, Ethereum likely will as well. Ideally, guys, for Ethereum, I'm looking to enter my margin longs, heavy margin longs, in this region right here, between 165 to 168. We may or may not get that. I'm a little bit concerned with us recovering the support level and bouncing off of it. We did break market structure to the downside here, so I would love to see us make one more low here before we continue up. But a break above 176.45 at this point, I might just have to set some stop buy orders. I know it's not smart to long into resistance, but this level has already been tested. And at this point, I really just don't want to miss this Ethereum move, which I think is going to start right after we complete this correction and head to the upside. But yeah, possibly might set some stop buys at 176.45. But really, I'm looking to go heavy in this zone right here. And this, I believe, this last leg down should coincide with BTC getting its last E wave to the downside. And then we should rip higher on Ethereum, and we should break through to 5.8K on Bitcoin. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys right now. Again, if you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe. And turn my alerts on for YouTube. And follow me on Twitter so that you're always kept up to date on all these updates. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. All right, thanks.